Welcome to Embracing Infinity, exploring the infinite oneness in the space of love and truth. Host Jennifer Rose is an international spiritual medium, healer, channeler, mentor, and transformational guide. Her focus is encouraging individuals to know themselves within the lens of their divine heart and highest potential, to evolve within the frequency of love and peaceful harmony. Now, here's your host, Jennifer Rose.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Rose, and welcome to Embracing Infinity on the Sacred Spiral Network. I hope you're all doing very well today, and happy Friday to everybody. There we are. Hello. Great to see you all. I'm so happy that you've made it here today. I'm very excited for our show today with our special guest, Maria Brophy. We've got Mother's Day coming up, and I hope you all are able to enjoy this beautiful weekend here in California. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, the hummingbirds are humming, and life is quite beautiful and exciting. So with that, I say everybody's coming on, and thank you all for being here today. Beautiful spirits just kind of like entering the room and finding its way to all of us right now and holding us together too. A few quick announcements before we get started. Please tune in at 5 p.m. Pacific, and that's 1 a.m. in the UK for Spiritually Imperfect with Michael Christopher and Jennifer Lee. Very excited for their show coming up today. And this coming Monday is my debut show with the beautiful Nancy Muratalla, Fashionably Spiritual. We're very excited to be having our first show. And that will be at 6 p.m. Pacific time, which is 2 a.m. in the UK for our UK friends who like to stay up late. So that afternoon tea does you very well, my good friends. I also have, before that show on Monday, I have a free online event called Spirit Talk. It is a spiritual Q&A where you can come on and ask any questions about spiritual topics that you may be curious about. What does Jennifer Rose think about that? I've seen YouTube videos, I've read articles, I'd like to get a little bit more. And that is at 4 p.m. Pacific, midnight in the UK. And to sign up for that, you just have to go to mediumjenniferrose.com and go to the events section, and it will lead you there. And with that, I'd like to stop and say hello to everybody who's joined us. There's KB. Hello, how are you? Happy Friday. How are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you. I see Susan Kramer is here. Hello, my beautiful friend. Good to see you, Susan. Thanks for joining us. And we've got Ava Bergstrom. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. Hey, gorgeous. I see Elaine Staten is joining us well. Hi, Elaine. How are you? Elaine was on our show about a month ago. If you want to catch the replay over on the Sacred Spiral Network on YouTube, that would be great. Oh, thank you, Susan. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. We can get way out there sometimes in some of the questions that people like to ask. So we really have a lot of fun with that too. Want to say hi to Arnie Layton, who's joined us. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you. And Ms. Vivian, aloha to you, my beautiful friend over in the great land of Hawaii. I see Brian Medium is here as well. Hi, Brian. Thank you for joining us. And so everybody's continuing to come on today. Again, thank you all for being here too. What I'd like to share with you for just a quick moment before we bring our special guest Maria on today is we are coming up on Mother's Day here in the United States. I know it's in the UK, it's a different day too, but it's a wonderful time to celebrate motherhood, and motherhood shows up in many different ways. Maybe it's a traditional birth mom, or maybe it's somebody who was like a mom to you, or it's just somebody who was very nurturing in your life. We've got stepmoms, we've got mother-in-laws, we're moms to our little fur babies as well. And that nurturing, caretaking energy is a sacred one indeed. And I know many people will be missing their moms who have passed on to spirit today too. So I give a big, gentle, graceful hug for all of you as well. And I can guarantee you that over in spirit world, your moms will be with you. They will be by your side and giving you love. Sometimes when we think of the people that we love that have passed on to spirit, we can get very teary-eyed and emotional. And a lot of times that's because they've actually are close by, they're close around, and your soul is feeling their presence. And then there is this emotional kind of wave that moves through you. And we might interpret that as something difficult or negative, or like we're thinking it's sadness when it might just actually be a reconnection and a remembrance. So a little something to think about there as well. Perhaps if you're thinking about something to do for a mother figure in spirit, buy some flowers in their honor, go for a little nature walk, have a little conversation with them, send a thought out, light a candle. And you never know, you might get a little sign from spirit, from the people that you loved, or your angels or guides, letting you know that the connection is always there for you. So thank you for letting me share that with you too. And let's have a beautiful discussion coming up. We've got a beautiful hour planned, and I am very excited to welcome our special guest, Maria Brophy. So we're going to go ahead and bring her on. Hi, Maria.
Hello. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on and being my guest today. This has been something I've been very, very excited about to have you on too. So thank you for being here. You have done a whole lot of exciting things in your life, and what a wealth of beautiful knowledge and inspiration and wisdom and creativity, and just your love that you are, to share with everybody. So first of all, just thank you for being a beautiful spirit in this world, like gracing the presence and making it better and more beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I'm trying to be better every day. Working on improving myself, improving how much love I can give, and expanding how much love I can receive, and just constantly evolving.
Yeah, you're doing an excellent job, and I totally get that. I'm the exact same way. We're always trying to go a little bit more each day and continue with that evolution. And that's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to read to everybody a little bit about you for those people who don't know you just yet too. So my beautiful viewers who are with us, all of our friends, Maria Brophy is a speaker, art business consultant, and best-selling author of Art, Money, Success, and Empowered Women's Circles. For over 25 years, she's blended creativity with entrepreneurship, running an art gallery, traveling the world, and guiding others to build joyful, purpose-driven lives. She leads artists' mastermind group and women's circles, empowering people to transform challenges into growth and freedom. And there's a whole lot that you do with that. So I know your main focus has been with the art. And I know your husband is a recognized artist as well, and you're part of that venture as well. But you also have written these amazing books, and you help a lot of other artists to be successful. I know that we have a lot of creatives here in our spiritual community as well. And maybe they're not a painter, but they're creative in a different way too. And we're all trying to kind of figure out how we can like put those talents out there and make it successful, so that people can be touched by what we have to offer, by the gifts that we have to bring. But then how do we do that and also be able to live a comfortable life and pay our bills and all of those good things too? How did this all kind of like start to germinate for you, or was this just a progression over time?
Well, first of all, let me just say, when I was a kid, I knew exactly what I wanted, but I had no idea how to get it because I grew up really, really poor in a very dysfunctional and violent household. And I didn't have any good mentors. So it took me a really long time. But when I think back to when I was a kid, there were two things I wanted. I wanted to be an author, and my dream was to be a manager of a rock and roll band, because what I wanted my life to be filled with eclectic, creative people. And I remember as a kid, that was my vision. But I had no idea how to get there. Nobody believed in me. I mean, I had a really crappy childhood, let me just say. But I had enthusiasm and I had stubbornness, so that kind of pulled me out of it. And for the first 15, 18 years of my adult working life, I was in the most boring jobs, the most unsatisfactory jobs. I was in the insurance industry for over 15 years, and I did well, and I'm grateful for the money I made and the things I learned, but it was very unsatisfying for me. And then when I was 31, and this was in 1996, I met this 25-year-old surfer dude who happened to paint surfboards for a living. And I was fascinated by what this guy did. I was fascinated. You can paint surfboards and you can travel. Like, he was traveling to France and he was going to Peru and he was painting surfboards. And it just sparked that old dream of mine. And of course, we fell in love. And right away, I started helping him with his marketing. I couldn't stop myself, even though I had no knowledge of marketing, never did that for my jobs, but I just had this excitement for what he was doing. And it was fun. And I was trying to figure out, okay, wow, how can we like let the world know how cool this guy's art is so he can go bigger? Well, so then we fall in love, we get married, we have a baby. I'm still in the insurance industry. I'm not loving it. He's still doing this travel and, for surfing and painting, but he wanted it to be a family thing. And he knew things that I didn't know. And actually, I'm going to back up. When we were dating, he he said to me one day something that really set the course for this amazing life that we created. He said, Maria, anything you want is available to you. All you have to do is know what you want, and then you just have to reach out and grab it. And I remember when he said that to me, I thought, okay, for some reason I believe what he's saying, but I have no idea how to do that. Right? Like, I have no idea how to go from this insurance job. I thought I was stuck in it because I had bills to pay and I had and so it took a long time. But then finally, after years of him saying, Maria, I want you to quit your job. I want you to work with me. And I would say, Miss Practical, like, there's not enough money for me to quit my job. Like, you make enough money for you, and he was like, you don't understand. Once you come and work with me, we can figure this out together. Well, finally, I jumped off that cliff and it was very scary. I quit my job and it was the scariest thing. But we figured it out. And I started trusting this idea that you can create the life you want. Now, it might not happen overnight, and things aren't going to come together for you like on Christmas Day. But he was right, like, knowing what I wanted, the life I wanted. And this is the life that I wanted. I wanted a life where I was surrounded by art in many forms, where I could travel the world with my children, where I didn't have to get up at 5 a.m., let somebody else take my kid to school, go to a job all day, and have to ask permission to take off for my kid's, birthday. Like, I wanted to live on my own terms. And so eventually I did. I created that. Together we created it. And now, looking back all these years later, so I would say it's been about 22 years since I quit that job. That is exactly the life that I created for myself. And now that I look back, like I'm an analyzer, so I like to analyze, like, how did these things work out? How did we go from, only being able to afford to camp on vacation and sleep in a tent to now I fly first class. Like, and I mean, we're not rich or anything, but that's my mantra. Like, okay, I always fly first class. I am not cramped in those back seats anymore on an airplane. And my friends that come visit me, they're musicians, they're artists, they're sculptors, and I'm doing things that I love, all the things I love, not just one thing. I have the art gallery and the women's circles, and I write my books, and I drive my husband crazy because he's like, you're doing too many things. And I'm like, but you know what? I love all the things.
Yeah.
So I know I just threw a lot out there, but there's so many things I want to say, and I'm not sure which one to hone into. So if anybody has any questions or any questions you have, Jennifer, that might help me like fine tune and hone in on it.
Yeah, of course. And that was just so beautiful to listen to, just to get kind of like the backstory too. And I want to say hi to KB. It looks like Maria's just joined us. Lynn Janot, hello. Also saw Ava. I think I said hi to, right? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody too. And Heidi Golas joined us as well. So hi, everybody. And just a reminder, if you can hit the little reaction button, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, my beautiful angel Maria. You've managed to live this kind of unconventional, free-spirited life, and you've gotten to travel around the world. And I know in our previous discussion, we talked about you made a bold decision not to do things the way other people were doing them. And you followed your own intuition. And I know we have a question about how you started manifesting all of this too. And so how did you use this kind of like intuition to make decisions for your life that were literally against the grain of what everybody thought and how you should do it and how you should go about it? I know here in the spiritual community, we have a lot of people who maybe want to write a book. They're trying to get empowered in themselves. They want to also have a free life too, where they're not working that kind of traditional job, because we got a lot of mediums here. We got a lot of psychics and healers and things like that too. So we're all kind of in that same group of people too. And so I would imagine that took courage, but then you learned to follow your instincts on that first in several different ways.
Well, when I think about all the people that have inspired me over the years, famous people, books I've read, people who have done incredible things, they've all gotten past their fears. So the fear of writing a book, of publishing a book, the fear of being seen, the fear of what people are going to think. What are my parents going to say? What is society going to say? People are always telling us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. And it's a practice. It takes practice to stand firm in what you want, what you would love for your own life. First of all, to know what it is that you want for yourself. And then to encourage yourself to believe in it, because we will have people try to talk us out of things. When I quit my job, which literally created this amazing, it was the catalyst. I would not have had this insanely awesome life had I stayed at that job. When I went to quit it, our accountant, our business consultant that was consulting my husband on his business as an artist, urged me not to quit my job, urged me. And I almost listened, but I didn't. I just stayed firm. And trust me, I'm not telling you all to go quit your job tomorrow. Let me tell you, this was my path.
Yeah.
But I had been so here's another takeaway is I had been leaning into the path for a few years. It wasn't like, okay, I know nothing about this art business and I'm just going to quit my job. I had been doing it part-time, like on weekends for quite a few years. I've been leaning into it. That's what Jack Canfield says. Lean into it. Lean into whatever it is that you're dreaming of. You want to write a book and you're not sure where to start or how it's going to go, lean into it. Start playing around with it. Write up a basic outline of it. Whatever it is you want to do, start leaning into it. Start working on getting past your fears. Start noticing, what am I really afraid of? You're going to be surprised that there's fears that you didn't even realize have been lying beneath the surface since you were 5 or 7 years old. And once you tap into that fear, like if you think about it for a second, like for those of you who want to create art, painting, drawing, writing books, doing podcasts, expressing yourself in any way, stepping out of the closet with your secret spiritual abilities. So if you're holding back on any of that, right now, I want you to just think about it. What am I really afraid of? What is it? What is it that that person said to me when I was a child that made me afraid to show who I really am? So when I was 6 years old or 5 years old and I was just learning how to write sentences, I went over to my girlfriend's house and I was so proud. And I had a piece of paper and a pen and I said, look what I know how to write. And I wrote the words poop and pee and stupid things like peach fuzz. And I don't know, just really silly words that I didn't think were bad. And then her mother found them. And I loved her mother. I looked up to her mother. She was like family to me. And her mother shamed me and said, who wrote these words, these horrible words? And all of a sudden, my pride of being able to write turned to horrible shame. And, you know, it was a benign thing. I'm sure she didn't realize she was ruining my career as an author for the first 40 years of my life. She didn't mean it, but that stuck with me my whole life. And I had forgotten about it. And through some of my journaling, I had rediscovered that was the root of my fear of expressing myself fully. And I notice because I work in the art world and I work with a lot of atheists and non-spiritual people, I keep my spirituality a little quiet in those circles because not everybody is going to love it. And I'm reaching a point where I'm thinking, okay, you know, I need to that's like the next layer for me. It's like onion layers, right? We got to just peel these layers of fear and blocks that hold us back.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing so well, though. You're doing amazing.
I've been working on it for decades.
Yes, I know. And you know, a key point is that we can have very hidden things back in the unconscious mind that are driving a lot of the patterns of what makes us successful or not as successful as we want to be too. And so if we can be brave enough to get in touch with that part and do that kind of like inner introspection, what a gift you get from that too. So it made me really happy to hear that you found it, like you found the piece and then was able to transform that and move that energy out finally and be able to like really create this life of your dreams too. Now, I know you work with a lot of women too, and you do these women empowerment circles, and that's one of your books as well. And that is a thing, being seen is a big thing. We're so kind of used to, especially in Western society, to kind of like, it's all about supporting everybody else to be seen, and then we kind of stay in the background. So the work that you're doing is very instrumental of helping us to say, hey, we're here too. We have a light to shine too. We have a crown to wear too. We have something to contribute in addition to all of the caretaking work that we do for many others as well. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
So, okay. Can you ask me a more direct question? Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. ADHD, my brain everywhere.
Yeah, but it's the spiritual energy has come into, and it gets us a little bit like spacey, when the spirit energy comes in, and so we lose our train of thought. That's what's happening with that too. So when you work with your women's empowerment circles, being seen and having the courage to kind of put yourself out there. We like I said, we're in these very traditional kind of like take care of everybody else roles, kind of play the second, the supporting role versus the I'm the star of my show, of my life, role, right? So how do you help women in your circles to kind of be able to be the main character in their own story and their own life so they can share what they have to give before they go over to spirit world?
Yes.
Just
The biggest thing is empowering yourself with trusting that little voice in your head. And we all have that voice. You got to trust it. And the more you trust it, the louder it gets. Trusting your own desires. You have desires, and those desires are not meaningless. So if you have a desire to go somewhere, to experience something, whether it's humanitarian or self-serving, that desire is important. And often, especially in the spiritual community, we think it's bad to want things because it might be selfish. But what if you have this desire to go on, to treat yourself to something really special, like going on a cruise, and then you go and you're there and you meet an amazing person who is either the love of your life, or it's a person that you can help, or a person that you're going to collaborate with and do great things. I mean, there are unseen reasons we are driven to do something. We had an event at my art gallery last night. I have an art gallery in San Clemente, and we have events here all the time. And last night we had like a surfboard art contest event, and it was so much fun. And this woman that used to work for me showed up, and she hasn't been here in a long time. She showed up, and she showed up with her dog, and she said, yeah, I don't even know why I came here. She lives walking distance. She walked here with her dog, and she looked super cute. She had on the cutest outfit. She's single. And she said to me, I don't know why I ended up here. I wasn't even planning on coming. It's not, you didn't invite me. And I said, well, you don't need an invite. And she goes, yeah, I don't know, but looks like fun. She hugged me. And just as she's leaving, tall, gorgeous, dark, handsome guy starts talking to her, talking about her dog. And next thing you know, I see sparks flying between these two. And later she texted me and she goes, now I know why I came. And they exchanged phone numbers. And so who knows why you get this urge to like do something. But also it's that intuition, trusting yourself, trusting when you go into meditation. So I love to guide women and men, but mostly I work with women into deep, like shamanic style meditations where we get to the heart of some hard stuff. I love to do that. And one thing I always tell these women, especially the ones that are new to meditation, I love working with people who are new to it because they're the freshest. They're actually the ones that get the biggest, most impactful things out of it because they're wide open. And I tell them, trust the images that you're given. the images that come to you, even if they seem crazy and weird and bizarre and they make no sense. And then later it's going to come to you why you were shown like this image of, a phoenix rising out of the ashes, or, an image of like a little statue or something. It's going to come to you later, the meaning of that image. And you're going to find that your mind, your spirit, your subconscious mind, everything you need to know. It's already there. It's just behind a veil. It's being protected by your heart. It's being protected by your fears.
Mhm.
And the more you lean into trusting yourself, the greater your life becomes, the closer you get to your dreams and the things that you want and the things that you love and the things that are going to bring you joy and bring you to your purpose,
Absolutely.
whatever that is.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of key points there. It is okay to want for you, right? We don't have to be so selfless that we don't have any dreams of our own. I'm not sure if that's really how our our soul wants it to be, right? A service to others is a beautiful, beautiful thing, but we are allowed to want and we're allowed to desire, and that actually is creation energy. And so when we have a desire and we move towards that and follow those impulses, which are also, like you said, our higher self and maybe our spirit friends also giving us a nudge too, right? To say, hey, go to that place. There's something there for you. And then you listen to it and then you know why you went went to that too. And putting that creative energy into manifestation, that really is what the universe is. It's creationary energy with intention manifested too. And so it's a gift to the world itself to have love for yourselves and to follow your dreams and to do things that make you happy. And it seems odd to me now, now from where I am, it seems odd to me that happiness seems to be so elusive and like we don't think we deserve it. Um, but we all do.
I have so much to say about all that, and I'm writing
I
myself a
do.
note so I don't forget. So a couple things I want to say. First of all, I want to answer
Yes,
KB's
beautiful
question.
question.
So when it comes to abundance, I've really had to break down, and I'm still breaking down barriers to money because I grew up horribly poor, like destitute. Okay. Um, yeah, it was bad, but in extreme poverty. And the other thing is love, because I grew up with very little love. And so allowing love in and allowing money in. And I'm going to share a story because when I read KB's question in the when it popped up, the first story that came to mind, and I am trusting myself to share this story because it's the right story, even though initially I thought, oh, I don't want to share that story because it's all about money. But then I'm like, okay, spirit told me, like my intuition or whatever told me. So it popped in my head. So it's the right one. That's an example of trusting yourself, right?
Money is a huge thing in the community. Yeah,
So,
huge.
so being an entrepreneur and in the art business, let me tell you, it's like, I'm just going to say it. It's one of the hardest businesses to make money at. Okay. Um, but we figured out a lot of things and we do well now. It took a long time, but I remember in 2016, I started working with a life coach who helped me a lot with my mindset. And then this is where, so so that helped. I started working on my mind. But there's another element that I think a lot of people miss. And I'm starting to really talk about this, and it's taking an extreme action that you never would do. Okay. And this comes to forgiving someone you would never forgive. Right. So that's love a barrier. which I recently did. And I couldn't forgive the person, but I took an action I never would. And that action was I went to this person's art show, even though I didn't want to go because I hadn't forgiven her. And I thought, okay, Maria, you want to be the kind of person, you want to be at this level. You want to be at a Dalai Lama level one day. There's only one way to get there. You got to get over your own self, right? So that's an example of taking an action you never would take. So back to the money thing. In 2016, now not recommending everybody go out and do this, okay? But I saw this course online. There was an online course, and it taught you how to be a high level service provider. Now, in the art business, my husband and I, we sell art, we sell paintings. We also work with commercial clients. And when I read the description of this course, I thought, oh, I could really learn how to get into the minds of these corporate buyers and up level our business. But here's the abundance barrier. The course was $7,000. And there, mind you, I was driving an old piece of crap car. Like we could not afford that. We didn't have the money for anything at the time. Like we were just like, that was a rough year. We were getting by. We were doing okay, but that was so out of reach. And so I threw it on a credit card and I didn't tell my husband. I kept it a secret because he would have killed me. He would have killed me. So anyway, long story short, I'll get to that. Within 3 months, we landed a deal from what I learned from that course, $35,000 project. And so I made the money 3 times over back from what I spent on that course. And then like a few months later, we got our biggest client. And because I learned it was all this money stuff that I learned in this course, because I learned all that and I learned how to propose it and how to deal with it. That next client earned us over $250,000. It was over the course of, it was like a 2-year project that went on and off, but it ended up making us a ton of money. And so there were just so many lessons in that, like, but that broke a barrier and it led us to now we only do higher paid projects and, we've just become more and more professional and better to work with. And it just leveled us up. Hopefully that answered.
Yeah. So you took a risk in making this big investment in this course because money was tight at the time, but then you've kind of followed that impulse, like there's something I'm going to get out of it. So you moved a lot of energy in taking the risk and learning the material and putting it into practice. And then boom, like you got your return back multiplied. So,
yes. And I saw it as an investment.
Exactly. You invested in yourself.
Yeah. And it worked. And when you spend that much money on a course, you are going to do everything they tell you to do.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. We talked about that on a previous show, that it's like that people do have a little bit more appreciation when they put an investment into actually put what they're learning into practice. So yes, thank you. KB, level up business, level up life, and go get what is aligned with you. Yes.
Yes. And I believe that in business, you don't have to work with anybody you don't want to work with. You don't have to do anything that goes against your values. And my husband and I are very strict about that. If there's a company doing things that we feel is not good for the world or good for people or good for the environment, I don't care how much money is in it, we won't do it.
Yeah. So you follow also your own set of integrity and
Yeah,
values as well
yeah.
too. So, um, and those, they're simple things, but they're big. You know,
And you
they're
have to
simple
love
things.
money. You
Yeah.
have to stop hating money. That's
Yeah.
the other thing, because I grew up with a mother who always said, people with money are greedy, rich people are greedy. Oh, and hide your money. People are going to steal it. If you make money, people. So I had all these things. I mean, there were so many things I had to peel away, peel away. And I started saying, I love money. I love money. I'll tell you something fun that I started doing also. I started saying, even when it wasn't true, even when I had no money in the bank, I started every day. I would say, it's a good thing I'm rich. And I remember one day our tire blew out in our van, and my first reaction was, oh God, I don't have the money to pay for this. Like, that was my first reaction. But then I remembered, oh no, I'm changing the way I think about money. So when I went to the tire place and the guy says it's going to cost, like $1,200 or whatever, I looked at him and I laughed and I said, it's a good thing I'm rich. And I just kept saying that about everything. And it
I love it.
shifted my energy around money. And I
Hmm.
started carrying $100 bill in my pocket. Now we're talking 10 years ago. I still always have hundred or more bills in my wallet. Always. And my husband always has nothing in his wallet. And he laughs at me. He's like, "What? Why are you?" I said, because I like to feel rich. And having this money in my wallet, even if I'm using a credit card, I feel good. When I have my wallet, I've got that $100 bill in there. It feels good.
Yeah, yeah. That's huge is the scarcity mindset, and so
Hmm.
there's a lot of beliefs that like you said, money is bad, or we don't deserve money, or we shouldn't charge for things that we do. And that maybe living a less abundant life makes you a better person. Like there's all kinds of kind of beliefs, and it's big in the spiritual community too. And I do feel it's a blend of being in service, but also you're like coming back to, you're allowed to have a comfortable life, you're allowed to be happy, you're allowed to have your needs met too. And I kind of feel like when that bucket is full, you have so much more to give to people, right?
I I give a lot of
Yeah,
money away, and it feels so good.
yeah.
And my husband, let me just say, we live in a tiny house, 930 square feet. And but I love it. I love it. And I always say, well, it enables me to do all the other things I want to do. Just keeping just I love my house. We've lived there for over 25 years. Um, but I get so much joy out of sharing the wealth. And my husband and I, we kind of have this weird thing. We never give money to charity. We just give money to people. So like there's homeless people, and we know all the homeless people, the regulars that have been around forever, and we help them out. Like and it feels really good, because 10 years ago I couldn't have done that, or even 8 years ago I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have, we put a guy up in a hotel for a week because he was really sick and it was going to rain, and he had pneumonia, and my husband said to me, Tom's going to die. He's going to die if we don't do something. So we drove him to a hotel, and I booked him a room for a week, and I said, thank you, God, for allowing me to be able to have enough abundance to be able to do this, because it felt so good. I felt like we saved his life, you
Yeah.
know? And it was such a, and if this was 10 years ago, I would have never been able to do that. And I would have been able to give him a room in my house, because my house is too small. And it felt good. So when you get that abundance flowing, you can choose to charge whatever prices you want to charge. And you can also do things gratis for people who really need it. And you have the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
I do that for artists. I charge artists. I have artist mastermind that they pay to be a part of, and I also do coaching that they pay for. But if you're an artist and and I meet you somewhere, or if I run into you and you need help with something, I I will talk to you for an hour and help you just because I met you and I love you and I want to help you. Um, and it feels good. So you have the freedom to do that. You don't have to be poor to be a, I don't know, spiritual, awesome person.
Yeah, right. No, that's a big thing. It's good that we discussed that. It's really important. We have a lot of comments about the scarcity beliefs and the limiting belief of like money being bad and all those kind of things. So I'm glad that we're transforming that, because that is huge. It's a huge thing, right? And to
Yeah.
be able to change it, and you do have a lot more freedom if you can be able to at least have your basic needs met, right? At least have your basic needs met. And then you have more freedom to do more things and do more creating and everything too. So there's a whole lot there. A friend's asking the question of the day for all the mediums: how does a medium make money? it's very similar. That's true, because we do have a lot of mediums in the audience here that just like it's hard to make money in the art world too, in the spiritual business as well too. It's a lot of work to build it, to basically be able to do this work and say not have to have another job. Would you have any recommendations for how to do that, Maria?
I do actually. I think that if you're working with people, just like I started doing with the women's circles, although granted that's more
Mhm.
my side thing, but if you're working with people, I say start with small gatherings, start build put create an event, a private event, do it at your home, do it at a, I don't know, do it at a where they're at a park where it's free, where you don't have to spend money on the venue, and put it on a platform like eventbrite.com or one of those platforms where you can announce an event and people can sign up and get tickets. And if you're brand new, you could start out with really low ticket prices just to start building, get the momentum, start building your followers. When I
Mhm.
think about Abraham Hicks, and how she got started, it started with just friends in her living room, and then it grew, and then it grew, and then it grew. And next thing you know, she's filling up, 2,000 people venues. But start there, start small. And the thing about starting small is you also build up your confidence, and you kind of get your rhythm with how you're going to run it. So but yeah, start small and start charging just a little bit of money. You could even start with one free event just to like get your practice if you're nervous. Because some of us, the money gets in our head and we're like, oh my God, if I'm charging people now, I got to be this incredible thing. Well, maybe if you remove the money and get a little practice first, maybe with your friends, do a slumber party. I don't know, but just
Yeah,
start somewhere. Start lean into it. Just
yeah.
lean into it.
You got to do something. You have to put the energy somewhere and find
Hmm.
a place. I remember for me it was like just getting on social media. That was a huge thing. We're going back to like 2019, 2020, like right in there. And I had never done any social media before, and I just had to start small and build up. It was very scary for me, but I did it anyways. But that was another part of like being seen, and then slowly building a website and just getting out there and practicing, getting out there and meeting people, which, we tend to be a little shy in this community too. People a little bit more
Yeah.
introverted, very sensitive,
Yeah.
don't want to go out in public places and things like that. So we have to be comfortable and actually being more social out there too. That's a big thing too. And believing
You
that
have
you're
to
worth it. Yeah.
you have to step out of that comfort zone. You have to.
The comfort zone can be a huge trap and bust. And you have very well stepped out of the box and, you know, traveled, right? I think he told you not to travel too, right? Or told you don't quit your job, and then said you went and traveled the world instead, and just like, well, we're gonna do this, but oh my God, the
Figured it out.
experiences, the energy that you moved from that, and you
Yeah.
just went for your dreams. And when you're going for your dreams and you're on purpose, then the energy is all going to move in that direction for you. It has to. It's just the way it is. It's the way the universe
Yeah.
is.
Well, absolutely. Like when you know what you want, then you make a decision and you say, come hell or high water, I'm doing this, even though I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I have no money. I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong state. I'm in the wrong marriage, whatever. It doesn't matter. Soon as you decide what you want and you start taking action towards it, and then every decision you make leads you closer to it, not further, closer. Now, to you dog lovers out there, don't take offense to this. I love dogs, but one of the reasons I've never had a pet in my last 25 years of my life is because I knew that as bad as I wanted a dog, like I saw puppies, I wanted so bad, but I'd have to say, nope, if I do that, traveling, just being able to take a trip last minute will be impossible. It will be an anchor because we don't have family around here. There's nobody to babysit a dog for us. And, I didn't want to do the dog kennel thing as much as we love to travel. So that's like making a decision between this and this. Like every choice we make in life, it's like marrying the wrong guy or the wrong gal. Like now, not all of you want to travel, but I'm just using this as an example. If you want to travel, like if you want to have a life like that, do not marry a homebody because now you've got a problem. Right. So it's just all these decisions that we make in life that lead us closer or further from what we want.
Yeah, very, very well said. And I want to say hi to everybody who's joined us as well. Thank you. Um, Colin is asking, Colin's a beautiful soul, very, very elevated friend of mine. Could it be when the correct conditions are created, what is meant for us will present itself? Yeah.
Well, I like that, Colin, but I want to say don't fall back on that. You have all the power. So you have to not wait for conditions. That's the mistake most people make is they wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. You have to move material 3D in this world. You have to move something. You got to move your body. You got to make things happen, even if it's a little bit. It's like that girl walked into my gallery last night with her dog. She didn't know why she walked her. She's been looking for her soulmate for a few years, and that's her focus. And then something told her to come here. You have to move.
Yeah, it does help to like just at least make the step because we want to manifest, so we have to learn to really change those very deep hidden internal beliefs, but then also like make a step to as well. It's kind of like putting something into action, even if it's just a little thing. At least you started to move the energy, right? And I would say though that you also did create conditions in the sense of not having a dog, making sure you married another free spirit so that you could also be. So you did help create condition to allow the rest to present itself too. But you did that very mindfully and purposefully. So it kind of all comes from a full circle. That's so cool,
Yeah.
I love that.
And I had this idea in my head that it was hard to travel with children. And I had to get over that also. And that was something my mom put in my head. Once you have kids, your life's over. Like my mom would tell me that. And for most, I didn't have my son until I was 35, 36. I didn't want children because because I picked up that belief that my mother gave me. And thank God I, finally got rid of that belief. But it's a lot of our beliefs are from other people. They're not even
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah, that's very true, and they follow us around, and we don't even realize it. I always say what you run from will chase you, so you have to kind of find out what's chasing you,
Yeah.
and then you can be able to make friends with it and
Yeah.
change it. It's like you have to make friends with what's chasing you, and then everybody's happy, and Team Jennifer and Team Maria,
Yeah.
and then it all starts to really transform and stuff too. So we've talked a lot about like manifesting and courage and the road to happiness, which is right up my alley. I'm really big on live your best life. It's the one life you have as you. I know you might have other ones, everybody, but it's the one time as you that you've got to make the most of every day of this life that you have. And we don't know when tomorrow is going to not be there for us. It's not promised. So it's like we've got to live every day. You have a new book that you're also working on, and you also did things unconventionally in this aspect as well as COVID, a love story too. So I know Drew had a very, life-altering battle with COVID, made it out kind of by the skin of his teeth from what it sounds like too. And you had to make some very tough, courageous decisions to keep him alive. Yeah.
Yes. And I'll tell you, spirit made the miracle because Drew is the only person in the entire country of the United States of America that survived what he survived. His doctors and nurses, some of them come visit us. They can't believe he's, first of all, that he lived, and second of all, that he's now walking and moving. He was on a ventilator for 70 days, 3 months, more than 3 months. Most within 4 days, most COVID, 85% of the COVID ventilated patients died within 4 days. Drew survived almost 70. Collapsed lung, multiple sepsis infections. The doctors actually tried to get me to sign off to full life support because he wasn't going to make it anyway, and he was suffering. He almost died in front of me multiple times. And what pulled him through, I believe, well, it was a lot of things. A lot of things, but there was so much prayer, and I just refused to believe that he was going to die. And actually, if I can just share a story, I know we're at the top of the hour, but I'll make it quick. I was planning his funeral because he was given, hours. And I remember I was driving on Pacific Coast Highway with my sister-in-law, and we had just left the hospital, and we were just devastated. And I'm the one to do everything, right? It's my husband. I'm planning the funeral, and I'm thinking, okay, should we do the funeral here, or should we do it in Myrtle Beach where his family is? And I'm thinking, okay, who am I going to have speak at the funeral? Like, I'm literally planning all the details. I'm going to have him cremated, this and that. And then all of a sudden, a voice from like somewhere outside of me very clearly said to me, if you want him to live, you have to plan for him to come home. And I was jolted.
Mm.
And I got it. I thought, oh my God. Okay. And then I thought, okay, so my job is to believe he's going to come home. And then I took it a step further, and I have to make sure everybody else believes. And so from that moment forward, I learned how to have unwavering faith, because trust me, I had no idea how to have faith in this, because everything said he was going to die like any hour, any day. And the doctors, had, granted, I don't blame them. They had given up on him. I don't blame them, because nobody survived what he was in. And so he was in a coma for a month. And in that time, even though like we had friends that worked at the hospital, they all knew he was going to die. But I came out publicly on social media. My husband has a big platform, and I started posting from his platform and telling everybody what was going on, but I would put a positive spin on it. I need your help. I would ask the audience, I need your help to please envision Drew painting and surfing and living again. And I'm going to say probably tens of thousands of people did just that. People that didn't know him, people who heard about him, people who did know him, people all over the world prayed. And when he had his near-death experience, when he came out of the coma, and he couldn't talk, by the way, for a couple of months, he couldn't speak, and he was fully paralyzed. But a couple of weeks after he came out of the coma, he could finally move one hand and write. And that was the first thing he wanted to write about, was the near death. And he told me in these scribbled words that he saw love, and he felt when he went to the other side, he saw all the prayers, and they pulled him back. And then after that, we had a broken body that weighed 105 pounds, that was paralyzed and dying. And I convinced a number of the medical professionals caring for him that he was going to make it. And they started doing all these things that they weren't really supposed to do. And he wasn't supposed to come off that ventilator. They were sending him to a nursing home for the rest of his short life. And there were respiratory therapists that fought to get him off, and they did the impossible. You don't get off a ventilator after 60 days. They got him off of it. He came home in a wheelchair after almost 5 months and weighing 128 pounds. And we got more people to create this miracle. I mean, it just, all these people that believed in the impossible took action that you would normally never take because it was impossible. Why would you bother? And now he is back up to 180 pounds. He's surfing big waves. He's off the oxygen. He's painting. He's living life. He's bringing me coffee in bed every morning because that's how he shows love. And that's the power of belief. And there's so much more to this story.
Yeah.
You just have to read the book.
Yeah. We're very excited for that to be published. And yeah, I would definitely love to have you on again. We can talk more about that. But I've gotten major chills and so much emotion. And I know I'm feeling everybody else's emotion as you tell your story too. And so we've really got to talk so much about belief in yourself, changing those old beliefs, putting your energy into action, trusting, unwavering faith, and miracles. And what a beautiful combination, because it's us and then it's the greater part that we're part of too. It's like of spirit, the infinite, and our little and also very huge grand selves all moving that together. It's just beautiful. Vivian, yes, I can feel all of our hearts beating together in this moment. It's one synchronicity. More chills. Thank you for sharing that. I don't usually get brought to tears in these shows. I'm like, oh God.
Wait till you read the book. You're going to be crying like crazy. I had a friend read the rough draft, and she told me she read it in her tub over 2 days and cried. And of course, as we all know, it's a very happy ending.
Yeah. And I know I've seen some of the pictures, and I remember that journey too. And he was so skinny, so just kind of like wasted away. And then the transformation is incredible. And you're telling me he's the only one in the United States who got off a ventilator and lived and survived and thrived.
With all that had happened to him. Yeah. And every doctor, nurse, and everybody's told me that. So we have not been able to find anyone else that survived all that.
Wow. Wow.
And so we know it was a gift. It was a gift, and we're still, sorting through that gift. It was a
Yeah.
gift for others, not for us. Although it was a gift for us too, because we grew so much. I mean, I learned what faith is. I never knew what it was before.
Yeah.
Faith is the moment I got what faith was when I said, God, I know it looks like he's going to die. And I know he very well might die. And if he dies, if you take him, God, I surrender to that. And I will make my life great no matter what. My life's going to be great. But until he takes his last breath, I believe he's coming home. And that paradox is what faith is. It's knowing he very well could die and probably will. But until he does, I'm going to believe he's coming home. And I'm going to tell everybody he's coming home. And I'm going to redo the backyard for when he comes home. And I redid his office here at the gallery for when he came home. And I just did all these things for when he comes home.
And he came home.
Yeah.
Vivian, miracles are happening every day. Please go look for them. Yeah. They're probably not going to be on the news. So go outside.
They're not putting these things on the news.
Occasionally you get a little spotlight story, but I mean, that it's a reminder for all of us that, every day that we get to live this life, even if it's hard, even if the world has bad things, hard things happening in it, we every day that we have in it is a gift to live and to learn to be happy and to learn to make the best of it. And that's why no one wants to leave, even though it's hard, even though it's a scary world in some places with the things that we see going on. But we love each other. The power of love is so palpable and strong, like you and your husband and your beautiful family. That power of love made everybody want to stick together and made him stay here in this reality because of that love too. And so every little heartbeat we have is a gift, says anybody who's got a heart problem. Every breath is a gift, says anybody who can't breathe because they have to be on a ventilator, right? So there are miracles everywhere, and every one of us is a walking miracle. Yes, we exist. So I am so honored that you have shared many of your experiences and so much wisdom and beauty and all of your courage with everybody here today. So just a big thank you, a big hug from me for that too. And I look forward to having you back again in the future on Embracing Infinity. And if we're lucky, Drew will come too. That will be amazing as well too. And is there any way, I mean, it's been these mic drop moments the whole hour, but any things you've got coming up that you'd like to share with our group? I know we've got your book coming out too. Kelly, if we could put Maria's links on as well for everybody too. And then any final words that you would like to share with everybody here today?
Yes, I do have some final words. And before I do, I want to invite everybody just to click on the link about the book that I have coming out, COVID, a Love Story. And if you put your email address on that link, you'll get notified when the book is published. And it will be very soon, in about 5 weeks. And what I'd like to just say is when we have really difficult things happen, there is a gift in all of it. Even your loved one dying in the hospital, even a divorce, everything has a gift in it. And it's really hard to see it, obviously, when we're going through the pain of it. But once you get through it, you start to see what that gift was, how it made you stronger, better, maybe opened your eyes to something you needed to see about yourself or about others. And that was, that was the biggest lesson I got out of this whole thing with Drew dying in the hospital. Was there were so many gifts that came with it that I don't wish it didn't happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of us come to that. We end up, once you finally see how it all ends up, tying together and where you've come from it, you think you wouldn't go back and change it because of all of the growth that you've gotten from it as well too. Hey, Paul, thanks for joining us too. And so beautiful, Maria. And I subscribe, so I'll know when your book is coming out. Too, very happy about that. And everybody, Kelly's put all of the links there in the comments for you, and they're also in all of the adverts for our show as well, so you'll be able to go and find it. And we still look forward to that coming out, because I know that's a labor of love. And you're so right. It's like you've given birth to many beautiful gifts through some difficult gestations, but wow, the gifts keep on coming. So thank you so much, Maria. Thank you to everybody who has joined us. I love you. Thank you to everybody who's joined us. If you could please remember to click the little reaction button, give us a little heart. And thank you for your comments, for sharing, for subscribing, and for your follows as well. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. We look forward to having you on Embracing Infinity next Friday. And please, everybody, may all of this beautiful healing, and we created a lot of beauty here today, be infinitely multiplied and spread across the planet, so that every being will feel loved, seen, heard, and have a beautiful, abundant life, especially our children. Live well, love well. Please, God, love you well. And walk with grace. Big hugs for me. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Kelly for taking good care of us, our producer. And thank you, Veronica Jenkins, for allowing us to stream on your page, online live psychic readings. And have a beautiful weekend. Happy, happy Mother's Day to all of our moms out there and in spirit. Lots of love. Goodbye and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Bye.